Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm Keith from Heavy Mental Art, and I'm an artist from Sydney, Australia. In this video, I'll be colouring 3 artworks from my colouring book using 3 different mediums, from Copic markers to coloured pencils to Posca pens. This colouring book I'm really proud of. It's filled with 16 of my favourite line works from over the last couple of years. I've wanted to make a colouring book like this for so long, so I finally got around to doing that. Physical copies are still available on my website, heavymentaLart.com.au. There'll be a link in the description. I might do some digital versions in the future. All physical copies come hand signed on the inside cover. These are line works of art that are made into stickers, poster designs, enamel pins, and even murals. I picked out 3 random line works to colour, so let's get into it. First line work I'll be colouring with coloured pencils. This was a design I made called Slimus, the monster arcade machine. It was based on the urban legend of an arcade machine called Polybius from the 80s. The legend centered around the government using the arcade machine in mind control experiments. From what I could find, it's just an urban legend. There's no actual proof that it was real, but it's just a fun story. So this artwork was inspired by that, but in a more Cthulhu Lovecraftian way. This design was one of 5 retro gaming monsters that I made into sticker designs. It's been a while since I've used colouring pencils, but it's been really fun just getting back into traditional stuff. I started off using purple for the slime to give me an idea of what I wanted the other colours to be. Apologies for the lighting throughout the video. I'll be upgrading my lighting setup very soon. It was fun to recolor this design in a different color scheme than what I used in the digital version. Coloring this design reminded me when I was younger, playing old school Sega and Nintendo games. As I mentioned before, it was a Lovecraftian inspired design. The story I made for it: one night, when radioactive slime from a crashed meteorite merges with an old arcade machine, morphing into a creature from the beyond, terrorizing a small town with its hypnotic eye and acid slime, consuming anything in its path. I hope you enjoyed that little story I made to go along with the artwork. Next to me on the piece of paper, I'm just testing out what colors match or fits together. I listened to a fictional story podcast on Spotify not too long ago, based around the Polybius urban legend. I can't remember what it was called, but it was about this guy that was trying to track down the arcade machine, and if it was real or not, then gets trapped in a conspiracy. So that was a fun listen. Check that out if you're into story podcasts. Once I get the design colored, I use whiteout to do the highlights to give it a bit more detail. You could also use a white pen or a white Posca pen, but I find whiteout to be much more thicker and covers up in one go. The next artwork I chose to colour with Copic markers, called Shroomduction. I drew this a few years back, inspired by National Shroom Day. I think I found out about this on Instagram. Everyone was doing artworks for it, so I thought I would do one too. A mushroom UFO abducting shrooms. So it's kind of like Shroomception. I thought that would be a funny artwork to draw. I coloured this using a few Copic markers that I had lying around. I've used Copic markers quite a few times. They are really fun to colour with and get a nice blend of colours, kind of like watercolour. They can also be super expensive. They are cool to use, but I'm not sure if they are worth the price. I recently found out about another alternative to Copic markers, Ohuhu alcohol markers. I haven't used them myself, but I've heard they're pretty good quality compared to Copic markers for a much better price. The cool thing about alcohol markers is that you can blend different colors together to make other colors. So I mixed blue with green to make like a dark greeny color for the ray beam. I've saw other artists make some amazing art with Copic markers. I would love to do some more art using them in the future. They can be a bit intimidating to use at first, but if you just experiment with blending the colors and using them, you'll get used to them eventually. Like I said, I only had a limited supply of Copic markers, so I had to use them to my advantage. So I tried to make all the colors work and fit together as best I could. So it was a bit of a challenge, but a fun challenge. So once I'm finished coloring the artwork, I'm using whiteout again to do highlights and to add extra detail to the artwork. Adding some stars in the background with the white. For the third artwork, I used some Posca pens. I wasn't sure if this would work because Posca pens are basically acrylic paint and I thought it would color over the line work. I just wanted to try it out anyway to see if it would work. Posca pens are pretty fun to use. I've used them in the past to make artworks as well. They come in a lot of different colors, and once dried, the color still stays pretty vibrant. This design was called Pumpkin Phobia, one of many drawings I drew as part of an October drawing challenge. Over the last few years, I've done a few of these drawing challenges, where in October you have 31 days to draw 31 drawings. And the theme for when I drew this design was every artwork had to incorporate a pumpkin in some way. I did that drawing challenge for at least 6 years in a row. It can definitely be stressful, but also a fun challenge to make sure you draw every day for 31 days, no matter what you have going on. This was also part of another sticker set I made from the artworks from the drawing challenge. A set of 5 pumpkin themed sticker designs. Once I got all the color down, I went back over with a black fine liner to fix up some of the line work that the Posca pens covered up. I then used whiteout again to add more extra detail and highlights. Here are my 3 finished artworks, all colored in different mediums. It was a fun challenge to go back and recolor some of my old artworks in different color schemes. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this coloring challenge. I had a really fun time with this. Make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more art like this. Also, let me know if you enjoy the voiceovers with me making the art. Kind of new for me, but I want to do more stuff like this. It's fun to make, and talking about where the idea for the artwork came from and different art techniques. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I still have some physical copies of this coloring book available. Link to my store will be in the description below on my website heavymetalart.com.au. So if you wanted to grab one and color these artworks for yourself. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep on creating.